Welcome to Badminton Weekly with me, Jasmine Lim. We begin this week's show with the Victor Denmark Open, where Victor Axelsen was playing in his first home tournament since winning the Olympic gold medal. The world number 2, however, could not make its return a happy one, having to retire in the second round due to illness midway throughout the match. Other top seeds also succumbed to early exits, leaving Anders Antonsen as the only seeded player in the last 4. Hans Christian Vittinghus has more on how the men's singles draw unfolded.
There's no doubt that it says a lot about the current depth in the men's singles department. It's so wide, the depth. There are so many players that are capable of producing good results at the highest level of events. You see it at all the Super 500, 750 and 1000 events. That from the 17 we've had this year, 10 of them has had different winners actually. So we see a lot of different players who are actually able to perform at this level. So there's just no easy rounds for the top guys. And I would say apart from Victor Axelsen and Shi Yuqi, all the rest of the guys, I wouldn't say they're at a similar level, but they are all comparable to each other, so they can beat each other on a good day. It's only been Victor and Shi Yuqi who has been maybe a level above if you look at the period pre the Olympics. So I think just it says a lot about the general depth. It is crazy in the men's singles at the moment, and everyone is really struggling to make like themselves distance from the other players in the group right now. To be honest, the only guy I was really surprised to see in the semi-final was Kenta Nishimoto. Not that he's not a world-class player, he's ranked top 15 for a reason, but it was actually his first semi-final at all this year on the World Tour level. So I was quite surprised to see him make it there, but it was nice to see him get back to the form that he showed last year, which actually took him to a top 10 level player. But if you look at the other 2 players who were unseeded and made the semi-finals, so one is Alex Lanier, and there's no doubt post the Paris Olympics, he has been the guy in form. He won the Japan Open Super 750, and we saw before Denmark Open in the Arctic Open that he made Zhou Qinchen all the way to a very close 3-game battle. So I don't really think it's surprising to see him make a semi-final. I think he was just showing that he's really here to stay. He's not just like a one-time thing. We should count on him for the foreseeable future. And if you take the other guy who made the semi-final unseeded, Koki Watanabe from Japan, even made the final as well. He is getting very close to top 10 now. He will be world number 11 after the Denmark Open when the new rankings come. So I think it's also that he's getting better and better and better all the time. And now he's just one step away from top 10 in the world. So it is some of the toughest guys in the men's singles group at the moment if you look at the form. And also both Koki and Alex Lanier, they come into this tournament quite fresh. They didn't go to the Olympics, so they don't have this little bit of post-Olympic blues. They are just really motivated to do well and perform, and the same can be said to Anders actually, because he lost way too early in the Olympics, so he wants to kind of avenge himself in these tournaments post the Olympics.
Brilliant! What a way to close out the match. Anders Antonsen becomes the first home player in the Super Series and now World Tour era to win 2 titles at the Denmark Open in the men's singles discipline.
An Se-young marked her return to the HSBC BWF World Tour by reaching the final in Odense. The Korean shuttler, who was on a 2-month break after the Olympics, came close to capturing her first Denmark Open title, only to lose out to Wang Zhiyi in the final. Despite the loss, the gold medalist is happy to be back and talks about her matches in Denmark.
네, 그렇게 큰 부담감은 없었고요. 그저 즐기러 왔고 이제 저도 코트에 들어선 지 좀 올림픽 끝나고 오래됐었기 때문에 이제 그냥 설레는 마음으로만 오고 지든 이기든 저는 그냥 재밌는 경기를 하고 싶었던 것 같아요. 서로 너무 잘 알기 때문에 뭐 선수에 대해서 분석이 많이 됐어서 그게 좀 어려웠었지. 저는 이제 실수 없이 게임을 뛰자는 생각으로 뛰었고 그다음 공에 대해서 포기하지 않는 마음으로 좀 많이 뛰었던 것 같아요.
There you go. An Se-young with the win in the end, quite comfortable.
빌리 마이 롤모델 그리고 배드민턴을 재밌게 할 수 있는 방법을 알려주신 분인 것 같아요. 힘냈으면 좋겠다고 말을 해주고요. 그다음에 내일의 행운을 빈다고 말해주더라고요. 일단 코트에 바람이 조금 많이 불더라고요. 그래서 앞뒤로 많이 부는 게 있어서 이제 어떻게 보면은 첫 세트를 잡았으면 좋았겠지만은 이게 바람에 제가 이용을 좀 했었던 것 같아요. 체력 분배를 좀 해야 될 것 같아서 이용 좀 했었던 것 같습니다.
She puts it away this time. An Se-young in a slight seesaw battle, but she'll be delighted that she's broken a run of 2 matches in a row where she's conceded the first game. Oh, as she's done that,
yeah, that's...
it's actually even more pronounced now. So An Se-young wins this because of a retirement from Gregoria Mariska Tunjung.
모든 선수가 이렇게 경기를 끝내고 싶어 하진 않는 것 같아요. 그리고 마리스카 선수의 회복을 빨리 기원하고요. 다음 경기 결승은 결승전답게 정말 잘 준비해야 될 것 같아요. 솔직히 다 기본적으로 했던 이제 그런 시합들인데 생각보다 준비가 잘 안 돼 있으니까 이게 길게 느껴졌었던 것 같고 또 초반에 좀 많이 뛰었어서 그런가 체력적으로 좀 힘들었었나 봐요. 그래서 몸도 잘 안 올라왔던 것 같기도 하고. 근데 무릎에 대해서는 정말 다 괜찮은 것 같아요. 올해는 제가 정말 올림픽만 보고 달려왔던 것도 있었고 거기에 온 힘을 쏟다 보니까 솔직히 에너지가 엄청 많이 남진 않은 것 같더라고요. 회복하려 해도 잘 올라오지 않은 것 같고 이제는 차근차근 올라감으로써 내년을 준비해야 되지 않을까라는 생각도 조금은 하게 되는 것 같아요.
The 14-year wait for the first Danish men's doubles pair to win the Denmark Open continues after Kim Astrup and Anders Rasmussen failed to get past Liang Weikeng and Wang Chang in the final. Aside from that disappointing loss, it has been a productive year for the world number 3, according to our expert Hans Christian Wittinghus.
I think it was an amazing week for Kim and Anders. I think they have come back from the disappointment in Paris really well. Obviously, missing 4 match points for a medal is going to be a big blow in their career. Who knows when that chance is going to come back. So I think the way they have turned it around now with I know they lost a little bit early in the first 2 tournaments they played, but they've been getting better and better. They had a first round loss in Hong Kong, then quarterfinal China Open, and now back-to-back finals with Arctic Open and Denmark Open. I think it shows a lot from them, and I think they've taken it the right way. We also heard that in the post-match interviews that they are trying to focus on the Olympics a little bit differently. They didn't get the medal they wanted, but they actually showed some of the highest level they've showed at any point in their career. So they're trying to take that with them, and I think the final spot here at the Denmark Open is a nice reward for them, and the Paris disappointment is already long behind them. One factor that really plays into their strength is Kim's serve. So his short serve, he's able to generate a lot of spin, and they have a lot of matches where they get long streaks or scoring streaks on his serve, where they score 5, 6, 7, 8 points in a row, because everyone is really struggling to make good service returns. So they often start the rally when Kim is serving with the initiative, and when they have that, they are really hard working. Anders is such a workhorse from the back, and because of that, it's difficult for the other pairs to really get the initiative. And I think that's one area where they have really changed their mindset and the game. They're playing a bit more aggressive, a bit more high-paced badminton, where if you look at in the past where they were more of a defensive, but now they actually try to dictate the game a lot more. So I think that's one key area. If I had to mention another one, it is that they are actually what I would describe as 2 huge grinders. So they really figure out a way to play during the matches. I think we saw it also in Denmark Open, both against Koki Kobayashi and also in the semi-final against Alfian and Arianto. They didn't get the best starts, but they came back. They find a way where the tactics, how they can apply the right tactics and get into the game against the Indonesians. They just keep grinding, keep working, and at the end they will find out a way to play into their own strength. So I think the tactical awareness and the way to figure out how to play during the match is definitely also one of their strengths. There's always things to improve on, even for the world number ones and the world number twos. Definitely you can get better and sharper in every single area. I would still like to single out a couple of areas where I feel like they still have a little bit of ground to gain. Though when Anders is serving, I still feel like they are often not really getting much initiative out of it. His flick serve is very good, but when the short serve, it's not a great situation for them, also because they really prefer to have Kim at the front and Anders in the back. I know they're working on it, they're also getting better, but it is one area where I still see there is room for development. Then I also think when the game becomes really fast, it can sometimes be difficult for them to be creative enough in the defense, which is quite funny because I would say against all the pairs outside of top 10, it's one of the areas where they're really strong actually. They're really creative, very good at turning it around from a defensive standpoint. But when it gets really fast and it's the absolute best pairs in the world, then sometimes they struggle a little bit to turn it around and they get too far behind in the defense and they just let the opponents push them that way. It takes a lot to get it there, but I think if you look at the best 3, 4, 5 pairs in the world, that is two of the areas where they need to improve significantly.
From one doubles to another, Feng Yanzhe and Huang Dongping rewrote history by becoming the first mixed pair since 2009 to win a second straight title at the Denmark Open. Now, it was also Huang's 4th consecutive final appearance in the tournament. BWF commentator Shazad Haq was in Odense to witness the Chinese pair's fantastic achievement.
Well, firstly, I think it's been a fantastic tournament overall. What has impressed me is the consistency that you see from one pair in particular, and that's Feng Yanzhe and Huang Dongping, because they came into this on the back of some fantastic results, and they were really good until the semi-finals, right? Hadn't dropped a game, it looked imperious, no one could come close to them, and then all of a sudden, in the semis against Tang Chungman and Tse Sweat, they really had their stiffest test. Didn't start particularly well, and towards the end of the first game, Tse and Tang looked like they were going to cruise it. Had about 3-4 point lead, and all of a sudden the Chinese kind of kicked into gear, make them work really hard, but I still felt they weren't quite on top of their game. Second game they bounced back, change of ends perhaps also helped. It was the third game, I think the match really came to life. It was one of those matches where you just didn't want it to end because it swung back and forth, and I thought that Tang Chunman in particular, he really impressed. I thought because he was varying things up and he was brilliant in the mid-court, I thought it might just be their day. The head-to-head, by the way, was 1-1 coming into this match. But one thing about the Chinese, you can never ever discount them. It's not how you start, and with the Chinese in particular, it's how you finish. As that match was narrowing down towards the final game, you just felt that while they weren't at their best, you felt that the muscle memory was kicking in. They are so confident here in Denmark, and they won it last year. They have that momentum. They've been brilliant throughout, and it just felt like they were just digging deep. And when it really mattered, you saw them. And Feng in particular, I think he stepped up. Huang, I don't think necessarily had her best match in the semi-final, but it was Feng who stepped up just when it mattered most. He also didn't necessarily play particularly well throughout the match, but when it mattered, I think he delivered. I think we also got to take into account that Huang Dongping clearly loves it in Denmark. She won the women's doubles in 2021. They lost the final mixed doubles in 2022, and Feng and her won the final in 2023. They're into yet another final, and you wouldn't put it past them. They are playing their teammates, but you wouldn't put it past them to win it and make it a 4th final and a second title for them as a pair.
That's it from us today. The HSBC BWF World Tour is taking a short break this week and will resume on October the 29th with the High-Low Open. So do join us again next week as we look ahead to the Super 300 event in Germany. In the meantime, you can stay up to date with the latest news by downloading our BWF app, Badminton for You. And as always, do let us know your thoughts, comments, and questions on our Facebook and YouTube pages. Until then, see you next week.